कभी ऐसा हुआ है कि आप किसी के साथ कॉन्वर्सेशन करके आए हो एंड एवरीथिंग सीम कम्प्लीटली नॉर्मल? आप अपने घर पे आए, आपने अपना डिनर किया, फ़ोन चलाया, डेली रूटीन फॉलो किया एंड बेड पे जाते ही आई शुडंट हैव सेड दैट, वाई डिड आई से दैट, डिड दे फाइंड मी वियर्ड? मुझे वो नहीं बोलना चाहिए था उस टाइम पे, मुझे वैसे नहीं रिएक्ट करना चाहिए था उस टाइम पे. Suddenly your brain is replaying that 30-second conversation for the 47th time. And the strange part is, the other person has probably moved on hours ago. So why does it happen? Why is your brain stuck at that conversation?
Hi, I'm Dr. Rimpy Sharma. I'm an MBBS doctor, although currently I'm not practicing. And just to be clear, I'm a psychologist now. But human behavior has always fascinated me. So on this channel, I want to delve into the topics that each of us can relate to and what psychology and research has to say about them. So today's topic is
लेट्स इमेजिन दिस. आप किसी फ्रेंड से मिले या किसी न्यू पर्सन से या मे बी समवन यू रियली वांटेड टू इम्प्रेस. कॉन्वर्सेशन हुई, यू केम होम, एवरीथिंग सीम फाइन. आप अपना नॉर्मल रूटीन करते हो, डिनर, फोन, मे बी थोड़ा इंस्टाग्राम, फिर लाइट्स ऑफ एंड सडनली योर ब्रेन गोज, व्हाई डिड आई से दैट? वाज दैट वियर्ड? डिड दे थिंक आई वाज स्टूपिड? शुड आई हैव सेड समथिंग एल्स? And now you're back in that conversation, not physically but mentally. You replay what you said, you replay their facial expression, you replay the exact moment where you think you sounded awkward, and somehow the conversation that ended 3 hours ago is still happening inside your head. साइकोलॉजी में एक कॉन्सेप्ट है कॉल्ड पोस्ट इवेंट प्रोसेसिंग. सिंपल लैंग्वेज में सोशल इंटरेक्शन खत्म हो गई है, बट योर ब्रेन कीप्स रिव्यूइंग इट. बट व्हाट डिड आई से? हाउ डिड आई कम अक्रॉस? व्हाट डिड दैट पर्सन थिंक? Did I make a mistake? Was I awkward? And this is especially interesting because research has found a relationship between this kind of post-event rumination and social anxiety. बट यहाँ एक इम्पॉर्टेंट क्लैरिफिकेशन है. अगर आप कभी कॉन्वर्सेशन रिप्ले करते हो, दैट डज नॉट मीन यू हैव सोशल एंजाइटी. It's a very common human experience. The problem is when this becomes excessive, distressing, or starts interfering with your life. So why does our brain do this? One important piece of the puzzle is uncertainty. जब आप किसी से बात करते हो, you don't actually know what's happening inside their head. Someone smiles at you but what does that smile mean? Maybe they genuinely liked what you said. Maybe they're just being polite. Maybe they are tired. Maybe they are distracted. You don't know. एंड जब ब्रेन के पास कंप्लीट इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं होती, इट ट्राइज टू मेक सेंस ऑफ व्हाट्स हैपनिंग. प्रॉब्लम तब हो सकती है जब हम अनसर्टेनिटी को ऑटोमेटिकली नेगेटिव मीनिंग दे देते हैं. मे बी दे थॉट आई वॉज वियर्ड, मे बी आई एम्बैरेस माई सेल्फ, मे बी दे डोंट लाइक मी.
Here's where I think this gets really interesting, because your brain isn't necessarily replaying the conversation exactly as it happened. Your memory isn't a CCTV camera. That's when I realized the importance of understanding the idea behind why we overthink conversations.
जब हम किसी इवेंट को रिमेंबर करते हैं, वी आर नॉट नेसेसरली वॉचिंग ऑन ऑब्जेक्टिव रिकॉर्डिंग. मेमोरी इज़ रिकन्स्ट्रक्टिव. हम पास्ट इवेंट को रिमेंबर करते वक्त अपनी करंट फीलिंग्स, इंटरप्रिटेशंस, एक्सपेक्टेशंस और एग्जिस्टिंग नॉलेज के साथ उस मेमोरी को रिकन्स्ट्रक्ट करते हैं. इसलिए समटाइम्स what you remember about a conversation can be influenced by how you felt about that conversation. Imagine आप किसी के साथ 10-minute conversation हुई. 9.5 minutes were completely normal, but 30 seconds के लिए आप stumble कर गई. आपने कुछ awkward बोल दिया. Guess which 30 seconds your brain decides to put on repeat? Exactly. और फिर वही 30 seconds suddenly feel करने लगते हैं as if they were the entire conversation. And then comes my favorite part of overthinking, the alternate universe. I should have said this. मुझे वो आंसर देना चाहिए था. I shouldn't have mentioned that. Why didn't I just stay quiet? अगर मैंने वो एक सेंटेंस नहीं बोला होता. And suddenly your brain is creating different versions of conversation that has already happened. Basically, you are directing a movie that has already happened. But thinking about a conversation isn't automatically a bad thing. Reflection can actually be useful. अगर आपने genuinely कोई mistake की है, you can actually learn from it. Maybe you interrupted someone. Maybe you said something insensitive. Maybe you could have handled something better. You can think about it and decide what you'll do differently next time. That's very different from endlessly asking yourself, Why am I like this? Why do I embarrass myself? What if they think I'm stupid? And replaying the same thing again and again. And this is where it can become a cycle. You have a social interaction. You start worrying about how you came across. You focus on the awkward moments. You replay them. You interpret them negatively. And then next time you are in a similar situation, you are even more conscious of yourself. The kind of cycle is particularly relevant when we are talking about social anxiety. But wait, what if the conversation actually did go badly? What if you really did say something awkward? What if you hurt someone's feelings? Then thinking about it isn't necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes reflection is exactly what we need. The goal isn't to convince ourselves that everything you do is perfect. The goal is to learn what is useful. And then stop punishing yourself with the same lesson 47 times. एंड वन इम्पॉर्टेंट डिस्टिंक्शन, अगर आपने कभी ऑकवर्ड कॉन्वर्सेशन को घर जाके रिप्ले किया है, दैट्स नॉट ऑटोमेटिकली अ मेंटल हेल्थ प्रॉब्लम. वी ऑल रिफ्लेक्ट. But if this becomes very frequent, very distressing, difficult to control, or starts affecting your relationships, your studies, your work, or sometimes you avoid people and situations, that's different. And that's when talking to a qualified mental health professional can actually be useful.
So next time your brain starts replaying that problem, try asking yourself these three things. Question number 1, am I solving a problem or am I replaying a problem? Question number 2, what actual evidence do I have that this thought something negative about me? Question number 3, if my friend told me the same thing, would I judge them as harshly as am I judging myself? And if there is something useful to learn from it, learn it. But once you have learned the lesson, don't keep reopening that case. Because sometimes our brain gives us a thought so confidently that it starts feeling like a fact. But we have to remember a thought isn't necessarily a fact. I'm Dr. Rimpy. I'm an MBBS doctor. And on this channel, I'm exploring the psychology behind the strange things that our brain do every day. And I'm curious about what is the most ridiculous conversation that you have ever replayed in your head. You don't have to tell me who it was. You can tell me how it happened. I'll see you in the next one.